Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, senior Lakers insider for Clutch Points, joined by Raj Chapalu on this fine Thursday evening in which the Dodgers are now one win away from the World Series. Raj, do you even want to talk about the Lakers? Because I could talk about the Dodgers.
It's been fun following the Dodgers, honestly. Everyone told me how stressful Dodger baseball is, and it's been pretty relaxed. I feel like there hasn't been very many tense moments. The Dodgers seem to come through whenever you guys need it. They seem to give up scoreless games on a consistent basis.
There's been plenty of tense moments. I can tell you my blood pressure is through the roof. Like even tonight, they win what felt like the if you just went by the score, you would say that the Dodgers, ran away with this one. And it could have been uglier, but it also could have been way closer. The Mets had the bases loaded. Like, this is just it's honestly one of the most incredible runs that we've seen a bullpen go on in terms of just absolutely clamping down and handling situations, and then timely hitting. And Max Muncy literally set a baseball postseason record for most times actually hitting or reaching base in a row. It's been a really cool run, and they are one win away from the World Series. That win could take place tomorrow, Friday night, a night that I don't have to work, which means I will probably be showing up to Avery's soccer game on Saturday with a little bit of a headache, if the Dodgers actually take care of business. But look, we'll make random connections back to the Dodgers over the course of this show. The reason all of you guys are here is to listen to us talk about the Lakers. This game is technically still going on. Anthony Davis, I believe, has checked out for the final time in this one.
He has.
LeBron did not play in this one. Rui Hachimura did not play in this one. And still, I thought the Lakers were fairly competitive with the Phoenix Suns, who played all of their main guys in the first half. I don't know how I would feel about that if I was a Phoenix Suns fan. So in this show, we are going to be talking about this game. We're going to be talking about the weird circumstances surrounding this game, where it was considered a dress rehearsal, and then LeBron just decided not to play, which seems a little weird. Anthony Davis decided to play, and then Dave McMenamin actually reported that LeBron isn't going to play tomorrow. I would imagine on the second night of a back-to-back, Anthony Davis also isn't going to play tomorrow.
Yep.
So this essentially does it for the Lakers preseason, weirdly enough. So there's a lot to discuss here. I also dropped a piece, dropped this morning that I wrote yesterday about the Lakers' pursuit of point guards and the issues that it has created. So if there's time, we could talk about that as well. We'll just see where this takes us. But Raj, let's start with the thoughts on this game specifically, given the weird circumstances around it. Do you want to start with the game or the circumstances?
Yeah, we can start with the circumstances, I guess, with LeBron. I'm watching JHS. They finally put him at point guard, Anthony. So he rimmed out a three, but I thought that was a good take. He had an assist on the previous possession. I see everyone's at me. I see the mentions. I see it. It's all right. I know he's not playing well.
Just know I see it.
Just know I see it. Like, there's not, every time I post something, I don't need to, reply about how JHS is doing. But with with the circumstances of this game, LeBron sitting out, Anthony, I wanted at least one full game of the real rotation. At least I was hoping for, and I'm not going to get it. LeBron's sitting out tomorrow. That's the end of preseason. We got 2 halves. We spoke after the Milwaukee game. That was a weird one as well. Everyone kind of going through the motions. D'Lo played tonight, technically, but I don't know what that was. That it continued his kind of malaise and nonchalant approach.
Okay.
What was that?
Did you see D'Lo's quote from earlier today?
Mm-mm.
Maybe it was earlier today or yesterday in practice. Whenever it was, he was asked who has impressed you so far in camp,
Oh yeah, I did see
and
this.
his response was me.
Right.
I have impressed myself.
Mhm.
I know that we have talked a lot about like the Lakers not wanting to lose D'Lo going into the season, not wanting,
Mhm.
needing to start him because you might lose him. He might already be lost. I'm gonna be honest. Like he does not seem checked in. I don't know if he's checked out all the way, but he for damn sure isn't like like he is definitely not hyper focused on what's going on.
D'Lo is one of those players to me, Anthony, that like really wears his emotions on his sleeve, or forget sleeve, like his whole body. So if like D'Lo's not engaged, it's extremely clear. Like his shot selection tonight was awful. He's doing the pirouette flamingo, threes, which I think is pretty when it goes in, but it's a lot of just, I have the ball. I'm gonna play an extra 5 minutes here. Let me, throw it up. So I think like it's part of that. You could tell he's just not engaged. Hopefully that flips in a few days. But like that's my main takeaway from this game. 80 looked great, all on jump shots, pretty much. Again, 4 threes right away in the first quarter. Phoenix did what every defense is going to do, which is like go ahead and take those. I think 80 finished. I don't know what he finished with at 3. I think it was like 4 for 10 or something like that. He had 4 threes very early on. A lot of pick and pop jumpers, but that's my takeaway is that we're not getting a real look at this team. LeBron sat out, which is understandable. But would
Is
have
it?
loved. I mean, like this is just unprecedented territory, right? For a guy in his with his miles on it. So I get not wanting to put even one, extra inch on it. Like I understand that kind of thought process, but yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that like we got no serious basketball this preseason from our real guys. Like it's gonna end on Friday with like a lot of questions going in against Minnesota.
We'll talk more about like the Lakers' readiness kind of moving forward, and we'll talk about this game here in a little bit. But like I do want to like hammer that point home while we're here, in that like how many opportunities it feels like the Lakers have missed to this point. Not just talking about like the offseason, not talking about the personnel. JJ Redick didn't coach in summer league,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you get here to the preseason, and there are things that made it clear that he could have used those reps, and then you arrive here and the Lakers are, let's see, today is Thursday. They are what, 4 days or so, 4 or 5 days by the time you guys are listening to this, from the beginning of the regular season. And what'd you say they played as a group, like in terms of like real rotations? They played 2 halves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
2 halves.
And that includes the Milwaukee one, Anthony, which was questionable at best in terms of the effort. Yeah, 2 halves.
Yeah, it just like DeMarcus Cousins got a lot of shit the other day for saying that like the Lakers signing Bronny meant to him that they aren't a very serious organization right now, or that they aren't serious about winning. He got a lot of shit for saying that. And I think like people are very sensitive to the Bronny thing, but I don't think Boogie is necessarily wrong. I think his focus is a little off. Like I don't think Bronny signifies that, but I think if you look at all of this offseason, not acquiring a single veteran this year, right? Uh letting Torian walk and take the minimum elsewhere. Lonnie is signed to an Exhibit 10 deal while you're still employing Maxwell Lewis on your roster. You have all of these player options that stopped you from doing all of these things. And your biggest acquisition is Dalton Knecht, who like looks like he might be pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
but he's still a mid first round pick. and those are kind of coin flips at best. The other acquisition is Bronny James and all of the conversation that comes with that. And JJ doesn't coach in summer league. This preseason was a joke. Like I like it was, right? They, it was poorly scheduled. They traveled to Milwaukee for some reason, and then they come back. They have a fucking back-to-back in the preseason.
Yeah.
What? Like this preseason was a joke. You got, like you said, 2 halves basically of this team actually going through like real rotation minutes, and I like all of that stuff. That, like, maybe Boogie was more focused on the soundbite, and that's kind of the world that we live in now, like with media. But if you take all of this off season and you combine it together, it's not indicative of an organization that is taking this season particularly seriously. And I thought tonight was a perfect example. This was supposed to be the dress rehearsal. The other night we were talking about, like, we said dress rehearsal on the show. Right. And the comment section here on YouTube was all, Thursday's the dress rehearsal, guys. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? And I was like, no, like that last one, like, actually kind of mattered, because that was the first time that he was going to be unveiling his 9-man rotation. And then we never got the dress rehearsal. We never got it, and like, again, like I one of our shows previously this offseason was me saying how, like, kind of refreshing it is to go into a season where my expectations for the Lakers are in the basement, despite having 2 top 10 or 11 players on their roster. Like, the point in me saying that is to really hammer home how thoroughly the Lakers have screwed up the situation to where we're heading into a season, and I don't think they're ready. Like, I don't think they care about this season.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of separate in terms of, what JJ's trying to manage. And I think it was my mistake. They got 3 halves, but, I forgot which, the Milwaukee or the Warriors one felt like, very,
The
very
Warriors
questionable.
one.
Yeah, the Warriors one. It was very questionable in terms of their effort. But Anthony, you just zoom into tonight. Cam Reddish started this game, which, like, I understand. Like, I think Cam Reddish is probably going to play, but he was not in your 9-man. When we had the serious dress rehearsal conversation, JJ did say he was going to have his real 9-man rotation against the Warriors. The players didn't get the memo in terms of the effort they needed in that game, but, like, JJ coached his rotation. Cam Reddish started tonight. Like, I think Cam Reddish actually played pretty well. I think he defends KD and the Suns well enough. He's very long and active and got a lot of deflections. I keep beating the drum that he's going to play rotation minutes, especially until Vando's health returns to normal. But again, he started super small with him at the 4. Rui was out because of a calf issue, which I get. They want to be cautious with him.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of lineups where I would put questions on, and people are like, that won't play in the regular season. I'm like, you realize that's in like 5 days. It's like Gabe, Dalton, and one of the other small guards, and they get absolutely destroyed, roasted defensively. And if you're like, that lineup won't play, that lineup won't play. That's 3 of your 9. Like, that's a combination that's very feasible to play games. Jackson Hayes still looks like, I think he looked okay next to AD, but again, like a center like Jackson Hayes,
he's not an anchor. Like, he can't operate as an anchor.
But players like that, Anthony, this is my thing with this game. Players like that need a consistent structure. Like, Jackson Hayes should know, this is the lineup I'm playing with, and this is my responsibilities on the floor during that time. You put Jackson Hayes next to AD, then you put him next to Cam Reddish at the 4, then you put him next to him 3 guards, 4 guards. He has different responsibilities in all of those units. There's different helper responsibilities. There's different places where he's supposed to switch, or he's supposed to be at the level of the screen. There's no continuity, and we're about to play a Minnesota team that's very good. They obviously made the trade, and I think they're playing well out of that. I'm concerned. We play this Phoenix team, and I don't know how hard they were going. I thought we played well. We still have no answer for, like, KD in that lineup, but yeah, that's my concern. We got no structure going. Dalton played in a bajillion lineups this preseason.
Yeah,
I think he played okay in some. I think he played well in some of them, but there's no structure.
I just watched JHS knock down a 3 to his credit, but I saw his shot.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Okay, was it an off the dribble three though?
No, it was like a
Okay, just a
it was a
spot up.
stationary 3 that I was like, "Good God, that can't be your shot now." I didn't think his shot needed, like, an overhaul last year.
Yeah,
I mean, he
I know.
made it. So, you have that. But yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about this game.
Yeah.
It's like I do think, like, through all of this muck,
Mhm.
it needs to continue to be said how incredible AD looks.
Looks great. Yeah.
Like, absolutely stellar on both ends of the floor. I think one of my favorite quotes from JJ this summer, since he took over, was how they were going to empower AD to the level that he wants to be empowered. You know, do you
Mhm.
want to go out there and win an MVP? We can get you to win an MVP. Do you want to figure into the defensive player of the year conversation? We can get you there. We can do this. We can do that. Like, let's get you to where you feel like you should be.
Mhm.
And I thought that, even given, no, LeBron not playing and um, the very shallow rotation that the Lakers basically have to go with now. Like, I think Anthony Davis, like last year, you can make a real argument that that was his best season as a Laker,
Yeah.
in aggregate. I think the best basketball he ever played in his life was in the bubble when the Lakers won the championship, that playoff run. But I thought from start to finish last year, he was special, and he looks just as incredible. Like, I think he got ranked. My buddy Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report compiled all of the top whatever player lists that all of these platforms have come up with,
Mhm.
and AD came in at 11. I think that's going to look kind of silly. He's right behind Anthony Edwards. Some lists had him behind Jalen Brunson. I think that's very, very low for the season that AD might be in store for if he stays healthy and he continues to be empowered this way. But Anthony Davis looked incredible this game.
Yeah. Yeah, and people always speak about what the Olympics kind of boost does for a player, right? It kind of charges them into the season, and I think you see that with AD. And I'm not saying he comes into camp out of shape, but he does talk about very openly how he kind of works his way into game shape, works his way into game conditioning to start seasons. He looks ready to go. He looks in midseason form. Anthony, he hit 4 threes tonight. He did not hit 4 threes in a game last year.
Yeah.
He started I think 4 for 5, and then missed his next four threes. So he ended up going 4 for 9. I don't really care about the threes. The mid range shot looks good. He looks aggressive with it. He put up 35 points tonight. He took 28 shots. I gotta look. When was the last time AD took 28 shots in a game? And again, in preseason, there's a little bit more freedom to kind of take whatever shots come up. But no, he looks awesome. The Olympics, I think, really did help. Like, I think it did give him a charge. Playing with the best players in the world. You just named that list, and I think like 10 of them are on the team. So like so it's
Yeah.
that's a good group to like be in the whole summer with, and just work on your game and be around other great players and stuff like that. But he looks awesome. I'm worried about the load he has to carry on his shoulders. Still, it still feels heavy as hell that he's gonna have to do. But he looks awesome. Looks in shape. Looks ready to go for Tuesday.
Uh, I said during that Olympic run that I thought AD looked like he trimmed down,
Hmm.
and that made me really excited about the season he could be heading towards.
Yeah.
Um, there's some debate internally, like with the Lakers, or there was debate at the time whether Anthony Davis was just really happy about winning a championship or if he bulked up to play center. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he did gain some weight
Oh
over the
yeah.
last couple of years, and I didn't think he was as explosive. He looks bouncy,
Yeah.
man, and he looks like, and I know that people are going to point to Steph and they're going to point to other shooters who gained mass over the course of their career and were still able to shoot. but I don't think it's a coincidence that he looks as comfortable and is willing to shoot as he is right now, having shed, I think, some of those pounds. He looks great, man. And LeBron continues to look like LeBron. And it just makes me all the more frustrated that it appears that the Lakers are punting this season. Like that's what it feels like going into this thing. Nobody seems to be taking this season very seriously, and it's just driving me insane. And what drives me even more insane is the fact that I'm sitting here saying, guys, like fans, other Lakers fans, we should be more upset about the fact that the Lakers don't seem to be taking this season very seriously. And all of the response that I get is like, oh, yeah, typical Anthony, sky's falling. And I'm like, they didn't acquire a single veteran. They didn't do anything for the roster. And they hired a rookie coach who they didn't make coach in the offseason. And then when he finally did coach, you could see some spots where he very clearly needed some extra reps going into the spots that he's gotten to. And all of it just kind of all and I think Bronny, like I actually kind of feel for Bronny because he becomes the target for guys like Boogie in those sound bites because of SEO and all of that stuff. But like he's not the reason by himself that I think the Lakers haven't taken this season very seriously going into it. They haven't taken it very seriously because like Rob doesn't have to take shit seriously. Yeah. His seat doesn't get warm.
Yeah, I think, and like just to close on AD, the fluidity looks there. Like he looks back to that level of athlete. Yeah, JJ's really kind of leveraging the passing improvement that he's gone through in the last few years and really running stuff through him. But I think Anthony, most fans, and I think I'm hitting this. I don't think like we're again punt. I don't follow football closely, but I don't know if there's another word for punt it, like a half throw, like not a full punt of the football, but like
it's an arm punt. Yeah. You know what an arm punt is?
No, or you just
all like right. So what'll happen sometimes if you're like at midfield,
okay,
and you don't want to outright punt, you want to run an offensive play, just in case like you're able to pick up the first down. You know, say it's like 4th and 7 at like your own 40 or so, you know, and so you run a play and you tell your quarterback, hey, if it doesn't look like we're going to get this, I want you to fire that football as deep as you possibly can at the safety. They always run a deep route in these plays. And it's like, the point is, hey, I don't care if you're throwing into triple coverage. We are better off if you fire that ball down the field and they intercept the ball at like their own 10, because it gave us a chance at winning at getting the first down. But we also know that we're probably not going to get it. So just fire it away. Like, take a look at the field. How's it looking? Okay. Hit the safety between his eyes to make sure that like we don't give the ball up at our own 45. And that's kind of how this season feels.
Yeah, it does. So it's like, we're not giving up the first round pick. So like LeBron and AD, throw this ball as far as you can into the zone. I think I'm saying that right. And see if you can see if you can make something happen. That's where I think most people are in this like acceptance stage. And I think the Bronny kind of part of this is that too. Like, and you see how crowds react to Bronny, and Bronny was playing with like the real rotation guys to close the game, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, I think that's where like why, your madness looks crazy. It's because like most people are like, yeah, we've been here. This is like the second summer of this. And so
Dalton Knecht just tied the game up with 5 seconds to go. We might get overtime.
Yes. Yes, let's get overtime.
In the dress rehearsal game.
Do they have their starters out there? Who does Phoenix have out there?
No, they do not.
Oh, everyone's going.
I see like Bull's out there. Yeah, there's Bull. There's some white guy. It did look clean. Look, Knecht hit that shot over Bull.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and AD's all about it. Like, I do think there's a bit of levity. I think there's a bit of like weight off of LeBron's and AD's shoulders to like go into a season where, because of how the rest of the organization has handled this offseason, they can't be blamed for however this goes, right? They were blamed for the Russell Westbrook thing, but they can't be blamed for Rob Pelinka not being able to get a deal to get done. And I like AD was just loving that moment from Dalton making that shot. I do like kind of wonder if, like, especially LeBron is in on it. It's like, all right, yeah, I'm like, sure, you're employing my
No,
son. All right, fine, let's go.
no, no. So this is all fun, and I think the
It's
vibe.
gonna last for like 2 games.
That's what I'm saying. Like once if they start losing, none of that matters.
Yeah,
But the vibes are good now, so I hope some wins can kind of help continue to keep that going. But again, this like first stretch of games is going to teach us a lot about the team. I think JJ is going to learn, like he's going to have a very much of a fast track towards like what a coach is supposed to go through. There's no
overtime.
rebuild overtime. Nice.
Yeah,
Is JHS in the game?
he is with
Okay,
Bronny
nice.
and Connect,
Okay.
and I didn't see the rest of the lineup before they went to
Okay.
timeout.
Yeah, let's go get a win, guys. Let's get to 2-3
Rah
in,
rah.
in preseason. Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about this preseason because it is essentially wrapped up after this, right? Anthony Davis played actual minutes in this one. He was playing in the fourth quarter in this one. Um he's not gonna be playing. Raj, you want to tell the people what you're drinking there? What you're sipping on?
I was hoping you were just gonna let it, slide, let it slide
No,
through.
I cannot. I cannot do it. I saw. Would you want to hold up your glass? Could you just hold up your glass?
All right, I got you.
So I saw that. I was like, oh shit, Raj is sipping on the brown. I was like, wow. Like, because normally if you drink, it's like vodka, right? Like
Right.
that's
Mm-hmm.
normally your
Yeah.
go-to. And I was like, oh dang, Raj, what are you drinking?
It's good old apple juice. Yeah.
Is it like what brand of apple juice is it? Have you tried
It's
the Simply apple juice? Simply apple juice is legit.
This one's like treetop. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the cheap. Yeah. Try
Is that the cheap
Simply.
one? Okay.
Try Simply.
Okay.
And it
They have-
legit tastes like you're biting into an apple. Some of the apple juices can taste a little sweet and a little extra sweet. Um,
It said
the Simply
100%
apple.
from apples, so that's kind of why I got it.
Yeah. You tell me. The Simply, I mean, I just love Simply. Like their fruit
Okay,
punch is really good. Their
I'll
raspberry
get that.
lemonade is fantastic in mimosas. If you guys
Mm,
are ever interested in that kind of a thing. Um, Jen loves their peach drink or their
mm.
peach juice that they make there. Simply is just fire in general. Um, and then their apple juices. My kids love their apple juice. Um, I just couldn't. I saw you holding like a cocktail glass. I'm like,
Yeah,
damn, dude, did you make yourself a drink? And then
it's
like
probably
a
isn't the right
drink?
cup.
I was
It's
like,
not probably not the cup for apple juice. This is like a whiskey glass too. It's just completely misused.
I do kind of feel like, yeah, that should be in like a sippy cup. Like you should be drinking
Like
out
with
of
a
a straw.
straw. Yeah. Right.
All right. So let's talk about this preseason because
But did they put 80 back in for overtime? Please tell me. Like, let's get
oh
a
my
win.
no, he is not. He is
Oh
not. No.
man, that would be
It
so
is
great.
Jackson, Bronny, JHS, Connect, and I don't know who's 94.
Uh, is that Quincy?
No. Quincy has barely gotten any minutes since that like breakout game. He had like the game of his life, and the Lakers like, that's cute. Sit over there, young man. I don't know who 94 is.
Okay.
Some of you guys in the live chat help me out here. 94.
It's either I mean, it has to be Armel, I'm guessing. Maybe it's
It's
Armel.
Chare, I think. Yeah.
Their numbers aren't showing on the NBA.com, so
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's Chare.
okay.
I'm waiting for him to turn up. They went away from him. But yeah, I do think it's yeah. Paul says it's the Paul here says
Oh
it's the
yes.
French guy. So
Hmm.
that's Armel Traore, who I'm pretty sure the Lakers are employing simply for tampering purposes with Traore's brother, who is legit, who's a like top end
Hmm.
prospect. Unfortunately, the Lakers don't have a pick in the upcoming draft under any circumstances. So anyway, yeah, let's talk about this preseason and wrap this thing up in this way because with LeBron not playing this one and then not getting ready to play in the final game, um and then Anthony Davis playing decent minutes in this one, he probably isn't going to be playing tomorrow night. This preseason is wrapped up. So Raj,
Yeah.
like, do you think the Lakers feel ready to you? I My answer kind of gave it away with my chuckle there. But do the Lakers feel ready to you to head into into the regular season?
No, I don't think they're ready, and like, there was probably no way to be exactly ready for the kind of
Yeah.
gauntlet they have to start the season anyway, right? Going against a bunch of teams that have a lot of continuity. The Lakers are supposed to have continuity as well, but they're bringing in a whole new coaching staff. No, I don't think they're ready, and I think the Lakers like this is a dangerous game that we do, and we've done this for many preseasons where we kind of just take the preseason super lightly, and then we walk in and wonder why we start slow or we're not ready to start the year. So no, I don't think they're ready. But they probably were never going to be perfect, and they're kind of leaning on, hey, at least we're healthy, right? Stu's, if you watch Spectrum, Stu's final key in every one of these preseason games is stay healthy. And so the Lakers at least accomplished that. No one other than Rui's kind of calf issue, it doesn't seem like a big deal. No one from the team got hurt, so that's kind of a win when you're walking out of preseason. But no, I don't think they're ready. No home games either, Anthony, from preseason. Very weird, just a strange schedule that was created here. No home games either. It was like it's like just unheard of in preseason. So yeah, no, I don't think they're ready at all. The star of preseason though, to me, was Max Christie. Like I feel like he was.
Yeah.
You take out AD obviously, and you take out LeBron's halves. Uh, Max Christie was the star of preseason. Like I think that guy's ready.
Yeah.
Um, Austin had his best game tonight, I thought, against Phoenix's kind of drop coverage in the mid range, but Max looks like as advertised, which I think is exciting. I think that was the best part of preseason. Max and Dalton shooting kind of both were the leads, but no, they're not ready, man. That like JJ got 3 halves from his full team as a new coach.
Yeah, I'm with you on that front. And I think the Lakers, one of the things, if you listen to the LFR pod, um, which unfortunately, because of my crazy ass schedule at this point, like I'm not able to listen to as much as I can, which is why I have Pete on the pod whenever I can get him here. But one of the things that they are often very frustrated with is the whole notion of like it's a marathon.
Hmm.
We got to grow over the course of the season, and some of the stuff is going to take care of itself over the course of the season. And I agree with them and their frustrations about that approach to it because all that is procrastination, right? It's the diet starts on Monday,
Hmm.
and this entire off season has been that, and I think this preseason really kind of falls in line with that. And I think once you welcome complacency into the organization, it becomes very deeply rooted very quickly. And I think the most complacent person in the organization is Rob Pelinka. And when you have that level of comfort at that high of a level, it has this trickle down effect that it just becomes impossible to ignore. And I think this preseason has been really tough to watch because like I'm watching this team that clearly needed to get so much done in the preseason. It's a first-time coach. It's a core that is like trying to regain its, kind of passion for the game together. It's this organization that is like trying to prove, in Genie's own words, the haters wrong. It's all of these things, but in reality, what it turned into is just like going through the motions. And look, I'm not saying they needed to like play like Tibbs minutes from,
No, yeah.
for the entirety of the preseason. I think there was a game where I think it was like their first or second preseason game, and then the Knicks had like Mikal Bridges in the fourth period, and I was like, oh, that's Tibbs, and that's why they
Mhm.
are going to fall short eventually of expectations. All of this stuff is a balance, but from the Lakers' perspective here, they did need to push a little harder. They did need to approach this summer league in this offseason, in this preseason, with a lot more urgency than they did. And I think you can kind of just see it in some of these players' faces, like D'Angelo Russell specifically. And he's only one of them. It sounds like I'm singling him out. I'm only using him as one of the examples, because I think you could look at a few guys who kind of have carried that same tone
Yeah,
in their approach to the preseason. But you look at D'Angelo Russell, and he's just out there fucking around.
yeah.
And like, what do you accomplish when your point guard is fucking around?
Right. Yeah. And I'll say that I don't think JJ is unprepared. Like JJ seems very prepared and seems like he
He's prepared
is
for
like,
press conferences, that's for sure.
yeah, but like he doesn't seem like he's, I'll say it doesn't seem like he's going through the motions in preseason. Like I feel like he's
Mhm.
trying to instill all the actions that he is. The Lakers are a lot more
But it looks like
structured.
he's swimming against the
Yeah,
current.
that's the tough part. And I give LeBron and even AD grace here in preseason. You'll see stars around the league do this. Kawhi does this, other stars. But the role guys, like especially the last few preseason games, usually should be like we said dress rehearsal, but like these are usually the serious games. That's why Mike Budenholzer had his starters out for a long time. Like he had a real rotation out there. He had like four starters out there with Ryan Dunn, who they're super high on, who's gonna be a real rotation guy. Like he wasn't messing around very much tonight. And we're going out there with like four guard units. It's like Dalton at the four, which again might play, but like that's just it's what are you getting from those? What are you running? What are
Yeah.
you finding out from your team? So I feel like I still have a lot more questions than answers. Like one answer I got was like Max Christie is really important for this team. Like how good he is, I'm not sure, but I know that all I know is that dude needs to play like 30 minutes a night just to start. Like our defensive
Yeah.
floor is so I think JJ's finding this out too. And like people keep laughing at the Cam Reddish stuff. I just like you watch our defense with no wing guy out there. I feel like you're gonna see him play too, but yeah, it's a little disappointing. I feel like I got very little film from this preseason. As a guy who likes to go back and watch it, it's just I feel like I got like maybe 4 or 5 halves of stuff that I can take like with me to the regular season. We have a lot of work cut out for us, and doesn't there's no easy start, I guess
What
for
I
sure.
will say is this, in compliment of JJ's approach to all of this, you have seen late in these games the Lakers like kind of
Competing.
for lack of a
Hmm.
better term, garbage units. Like they have competed their ass off. They have
Yeah.
won these games, right? You had the Oliveri moments or Olivari moments, and you had tonight. Dalton Knecht winds up winning this game. The Lakers won tonight in overtime against Phoenix,
Nice.
and that was one of the things that actually kind of drove me insane with Darvin's Lakers, where you have these guys who you would like think would go in there and would be expected to play their asses off and to compete to show that they need to stay in the league and they need to do this and they need to do that. What I will say, like to the point of what JJ has brought to the table, what you just mentioned, as far as the culture he is trying to implement and trying to unroot in some ways with some of the people who have been in the organization a little longer than him. Those guys who have come in at the end of the rotation in these preseason games have worked their ass off. It's
Yeah.
looked like they're trying to play the basketball that is in JJ's and his staff's vision. That's been at least cool to see. And the Lakers pick up a win tonight. And look, like I know people, especially in Lakers Twitter and people in our own comment sections feel a certain way about Matt Moore, but he did some statistical analysis of like teams that don't do X and Y in the preseason and how that usually translates to the regular season. And the Lakers, they picked up a couple wins here in the preseason. We'll see how tomorrow goes too. And like it's more, they have more to show in terms of wins and losses than they did, I believe, under Darvin, and then they did, like the moment that I thought that I knew that preseason kind of sort of mattered, like actually mattered, was the Russell Westbrook season, because they were like playing their legit rotations and
Yeah, and
still
struggling.
were like struggling to compete against Sacramento's like B.5 team.
Mhm.
Yeah, I I have my questions about what the Lakers are trying to accomplish this year. I have my questions about what their actual goals for this year might be. But there are some bright spots. You mentioned you mentioned Max. We mentioned Anthony Davis. LeBron still looks like LeBron. Like there are certainly things, like I know this channel can sometimes sound kind of down in the dumpy, but like there are some things to point to that like are fair reasons for optimism. It's
Yeah.
just about like erasing and eroding some of the culture that we have seen take hold under Rob and under Genie, as the Lakers try to make good, by the way, on the on LeBron somehow still being in his prime, and Anthony
Yeah.
Davis looking like he's finding in almost like another gear,
Yeah.
for the end of his 20s or heading into his 30s.
Right. Anthony Davis coming off the healthiest season, I think, of his career. I think, or if I have that right, he played 75
Mhm.
games. I think that's the most games that he's played off of a
But like
Olympics run.
since
Right.
his second
Yeah.
season.
Off an Olympic gold medal run, where he was dominant defensively. He looks ready to go. LeBron looked as well as anyone would look at that age, in the Olympics, still looks like a top whatever player. Dalton 35 tonight, like good for him. Put up
Yeah.
18 shots. I mean, he looks like a legit guy. I think part of your frustration, Anthony, is like you look around the league. The Kawhi news dropped today about his indefinite injury, or however they worded it. He won't be playing for the Clippers anytime soon, in my opinion. I think they're going to be extremely cautious. And you look around, Denver doesn't look great. There's a lot of like questions coming out with their bench and kind of the team that they've surrounded Jokic with. You just go down the West, take out OKC, who just lost Isaiah Hartenstein for like 4 to 5 weeks as well with a hand injury. You just like there's a lot of it's open. We saw the Suns tonight. I think they're a high powered offense with a lot of flaws. It makes you think like the Lakers feel like they're in that mix. Maybe one or two moves kind of would have uh like jumped them over those teams, but yeah, that's the optimism to me, is like the whole rest of the West. It doesn't look as frightening as it did maybe like a year ago, but you're in that like middle top six pack. With the caveat of LeBron and AD healthy. But good for Dalton, man, dropping 35, getting shots up. JJ looks like he's told him take a shot every time you catch it, which
Yeah.
which is smart, which makes sense. Like you're in there for shooting, might as well do that. He looks exciting. Looks like a legit first round pick that's ready to contribute now, which is a win for the organization, and they'll sell it as that. But it's a win for the organization for Dalton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight was the first night that I was like, okay, that's what we've been looking to see from
Hmm.
Connect, because it wasn't just scoring, right? He was dishing, like I think Dalton Knecht scored or assisted on the final 22 points for the Lakers in their OT win against the Suns. So
Wow.
like he was involved in all of the offense there. Like there's certainly a lot to like with
Yeah.
Dalton, and he's still a rookie, and there's still going to be growing pains. And like I said, like I actually think Dalton is like a perfect kind of um, summary of the Lakers as they currently stand, right? You have this situation kind of fall in your lap, and he was considered like the steal of the draft when they took him at 17, and he has a lot to show for himself, but there is still a lot of work that needs to be done to like take him to the levels of promise that he shows as an NBA prospect.
Sure.
And there are moments where you really, really see it, and there are also moments where you're like, okay, who is telling you to do what?
Yeah.
Because of the instincts that he showed so far on both ends of the court. And look, like, I wrote that piece that I wrote today about like the Lakers' issues with the guards and how imbalanced the roster is. Dalton's presence on the roster and Max's promise that he showed this preseason really helps balance out the roster to a certain extent, not fully because they are both not small forwards. I know Dalton, they
Right.
want to see him as a small forward, but he is not. And they want to try Max occasionally at small forward. He is not. But like it's another like just perfect kind of summary of where the Lakers stand right now, where I want to see I want to see these guys like grow to their full potentials. I want to see the Lakers make good on this great situation that they still have in front of them with LeBron and AD still looking like LeBron and AD, and the extent to which they push themselves and are willing, like, such a big part of the Jerry West conversation internally with the Lakers was that like Jerry West, uh, sometimes to his own detriment, welcomed the discomfort of competition at its highest levels, embraced it, and sometimes fell victim to it, right? And when you would see him kind of lose his temper with some of the you know, his lashing out and saying, I will fucking quit before I let the Warriors trade Klay Thompson for Kevin Love. It's like, whoa, dude, whoa. Like, like we all have that friend who it's like, just goes from 0 to 50 way too fast. And sometimes that would be Jerry West. And I think sometimes Jeannie Buss and Linda Rambis and that whole like cabal of leadership there that is far more interested in continuing to like get along than they are in like actually pushing each other and growing. Like that's where I think sometimes JJ is stepping into the situation. He wants to take this to the nth degree. He
Yeah.
wants to be super prepared on a nightly basis. You saw the way he was talking in like his like sideline interviews about what like the coverages were doing and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
think like he's going to have to pull the Lakers where he wants to take them, almost like kicking and screaming, because they are so used to just being comfortable. And they got and that became like the top priority was comfort. And that's, I think, going to be the most fascinating kind of interpersonal
Yeah.
storyline to pay attention to this season.
Yeah, and JJ doesn't strike me as a guy who's very patient or will, keep his temperament at a level
No.
if they're losing at all, which I think is you just mentioned Jerry West. I'm not comparing him to JJ Redick. I'm just saying that I think it's good to have someone who's a little bit more fiery and
Yeah.
like, hey, you guys don't smell like the house is burning. Like what you guys are just sitting there like on the couch, like while the whole house is like on fire. Maybe
Yeah.
we should, maybe we should change something. So I think that's a good refresher. And yeah, like he's looked super prepared. And that's what you're hoping for going into the season. That the team has not got a lot of chances to play together, but Dalton looks legit. Max looks legit. I just don't think, Anthony, you need Austin, D'Lo, and Gabe in the rotation. I think that just really harpens what you can do as a team defensively. But you can figure that out as the season goes along. Yeah, I think that was the exciting part. Like this is preseason is a close to preseason. We do get one more game tomorrow, where I think you'll see a lot of these young guys and hopefully
And I
Max and
will
Dalton.
totally be watching 100%. even though it runs at the same exact time as the Dodgers game.
Yeah.
Last thing, what we have some super comments here before we get out of here. So that means I get to play this bad boy. Perfect. So Brandon Oming starts us with AR, MC, JV, LBJ, AD with MC and JV starting would help the starters give balance to the lineup offensively and defensively. D'Lo and Rui off the bench with for the offense with Gabe Vincent and Jackson Hayes. D'Lo holds AR back. Raj, I want to ask you this straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Reeves can be even a LeBron point guard?
Yeah, a LeBron point guard, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I think he showed that in the playoffs 100%. Can he be the guy that just runs a million pick and rolls? I don't think that's him yet. But a LeBron point guard, absolutely. If LeBron's the one creating and he's kind of attacking off of that compromised defense, absolutely can be that. But I think LeBron needs more than that in the regular season, which is why D'Lo will continue to start, other than the political reasons. I think that's why D'Lo will continue to start. That LeBron needs a little bit more offensive help than that in the regular season.
What if
Playoffs, 100%.
I kind of wonder how the conversation would go if JJ went to LeBron and said, "Hey, you're gonna help initiate offense, and I know that's gonna put extra wear and tear on you, but on the other side, we're going to need like 20% less from you defensively."
Yeah. I think there's going to be a Max Christie conversation very early. Depending on how the win losses go, like it's jumping off the screen in preseason, and it's
Yep.
preseason. Like the defense hasn't even kicked to the gear that it will be in a week, and it's already jumping off the screen. The athletic kind of deficiency on the roster when he's not in the game. Just him. Like, forget the other athletes that we have. When Max Christie's not playing, our like backcourt athleticism drops to a like way below baseline. And I think that's gonna pop out very quickly. So I think that conversation is coming, especially how D'Lo plays. Like if D'Lo's averaging his 18 on 40% from three, then this conversation doesn't exist. But
Yeah.
start
But if he
slow.
continues, yeah.
Yeah, if this is the D'Lo we're getting, then we're screwed.
I want everybody to know here, just to be 100% sure, like I am not blackmailing Raj to continue my Max Christie as a starter narrative. Like I like this is like this is Raj making these points. Brandon continues. I like the way Luka Garza plays at 6'11", 245. He's physical and can shoot the ball a bit, play back to the basket too. Like to trade for a big like him. Yeah, like I don't know. I'm with you, Raj, on like whatever big that the Lakers do acquire, defense has to be the top priority.
Yeah, it just has to be. The offense, I think, is kind of taken care of. There's just no more shots to go around. I mean, like, where are these shots coming from? You have Gabe, Austin, D'Lo, Rui. All these guys are offensive centric. I need a big man that can defend the rim. I think Jackson, like in the right role, can fill this enough until February when we figure this out. Like, I really think he can. But Luka Garza's a nice player. I don't think you're getting
February is a long time. At least until Christian comes back. like
does he solve our issue? Like this Christian Wood?
No, of course he doesn't. But like he helps. I think he helps. You know, Christian, the Christian, LeBron, AD trio up front was legitimately good statistically last year.
Yeah, it was an extremely small sample, and and I believe it was mostly against the Suns, who didn't have, I believe, Devin Booker in one of the games. So, like, I look at those numbers, like, I look at those numbers a little differently. But I understand, like, I get it. Christian Wood brings size, and I think in the right mentality, Christian Wood can help. I think he wants to be a scorer and a 3-point threat and a off the dribble guy who gets to run an offense, not run, but offense goes through him. I just
My
don't think
thing,
that's what we need.
my thing with Christian Wood is that I always bet on incentive.
Okay.
And for Christian Wood, either he figures it out this year, preferably and probably only for the Lakers, or he doesn't. And that's it.
Yeah.
And now look, like to the point, the counterpoint to that is that, Christian Wood may or may not have gotten a company time surgery at the end of the summer. Um, it's hard to say. Everybody is very, very tight-lipped on that front. But if I'm the Lakers, I see what kind of basketball Christian Wood plays whenever he comes back. And like maybe he is just not self-aware enough and doesn't have the right people around him to recognize what's at stake here, where he could be out of the league in the next year or two if he doesn't figure this out. And if I'm the Lakers, I gamble on him figuring that out.
I also I feel like we sometimes I do that. I do this as well, like where we diminish kind of defense to fully an effort thing, right? And like I think even if Christian Wood figures it out, like from a mental space, just coming in to be a rim protector that like the stuff the Lakers are missing, like to me his skill set doesn't even match that. Even if the head was fully on the path of I'm doing all the little stuff, all the dirty work, right? Like man, Christian, like I don't see that from Christian Wood's game, so that's why I'm not as excited. But I obviously you bet on the talent. Christian Wood has the talent, and I think he's a great regular season innings offense eater for the Lakers. I just doesn't really solve our big man issue to me. Which again, I think Jackson Hayes is fine for now.
All right, we have Justin Tyndall writing, Vanda was injured against the Celtics on February 2nd. 8.5 months ago, this has Kendrick Nunn written all over it. Whose responsibility is it to hire the medical and training staff? What a clown show. That is technically also Rob's job. That is, with vice president of basketball operations, like, the other people ahead of him or higher up than him in the organization would be Jeannie and would be Tim Harris, and it would be Kurt Rambis and Linda Rambis. And I don't know how up to date they stay on the practices of physical therapy in 2024. But no, like I do think that there is legitimate cause for concern that Vanderbilt will have gone through the entire preseason not participating in contact drills and
Yeah,
contact aspects of practice. That's a giant red flag coming off of a season that was one big ass red flag waving all over the place for Jared Vanderbilt.
yeah, a couple of surgeries on both legs, and it's gonna be very. I mean, it's a very tough ask anyway. But a guy who I'm not even sure is he running. Like I don't really the reports coming out
Nobody
are very.
knows. It's like
It's
he's on track. There's no setbacks. Hey, it, here's the thing. I understand. Like I think people can be really hard on beat reporters because they don't understand the relationship the beat reporters have to maintain. But like JJ Redick said, the plan for Jared Vanderbilt was to have him ready for the beginning of the season.
Yep.
And then he was asked a few days ago that he was still on track for that, no setbacks, still hoping to have him for the regular season. And now, today, asked 4 or 5 days before the regular season, what's the update on Jared Vanderbilt? JJ Redick says not only is he not going to be ready for the beginning of the season, but we're going to reevaluate him in
In 2
2
weeks.
weeks.
Yep.
You can't, those like stepping stones on the path that we're talking about here can't exist without some kind of a setback, or you were lying to us in the first place about the expectation that he might be ready for the beginning of the season. And what I will say is that from the people that I spoke to heading into training camp, you guys who like listen to this show regularly and consistently could tell your friends and stuff. I've been telling you guys, I don't think he's going to be ready for the beginning of the regular season. So when JJ sat up there and told us that he was going to be ready, they're hoping that he's going to be ready for the regular season. Like I do think that was a semantic trick that like organizations will do sometimes, in that like they'll say, yeah, we're hoping to have this guy back by such and such time, when in reality, like people say, all right, here's the time that you're hoping to get him back. When do you think you're going to get him back?
Right.
And
Yeah.
with like the amount of money that's at play here, and with the relationships that reporters have with agents and that these teams have with agents, everybody is very, very careful about on these subjects. But what I've been told consistently from the beginning of training camp all the way through training camp is that there's no chance in hell Jared Vanderbilt is going to be ready for the beginning of the season. And now we arrive a few days before the beginning of the regular season, and we're going to reevaluate Jared Vanderbilt a week after the regular season starts.
Right.
There's no guarantee he's going to return a week after the regular season starts.
There's no way. A guy who didn't run all summer, barely getting his feet under him, hasn't touched a basketball, I'm sure, in a while. Like, or maybe he has, but coming right in to guard Kevin Durant, to guard Anthony Edwards, to guard De'Aaron Fox. Like, it's a really tough ask. So you hope that, he just able to get healthy as quickly as he can. Yeah, it's just tough. It's another kind of medical timeline that's kind of been off. But again, he spoke to Mike Trudell today, and like he said, there were no setbacks. He's on the path, on the schedule, whichever that means. But that's at least what you would want to hear. Like, if you're looking for the quotes that you want coming out, that's what you want to hear, that from Vanderbilt's actual mouth, that he's on whatever pace that he was on. Like, he feels like he's still on
he's
that
not
path. Well, this is the path that he said, though. Like, he didn't name these other timelines. These other timelines were not from him, though, right? This is from.
But then there's a disconnect between the player and the team.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
like,
I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying, like, at least from Vanderbilt's perspective, like, if you're listening to the player, like, it would be bad if like JJ's like, yeah, we're gonna reevaluate him 2 weeks, and Vanderbilt's like, man, I'm not doing anything for months. Like,
you should reevaluate whatever you want. No, I guess that's true, but like, I don't know. I don't see a version of this that like is even somewhat optimistic, and what I've said all along, because of the Lakers handling of these things with Jared Vanderbilt, with Kendrick Nunn, with Trevor Ariza, with like, pick your player, man. Gabe Vincent, like name player X who had an injury. My advice would be to hold off hope that that player is going to be on the court until you see that player on the court. And that's just the situation we find ourselves in.
I mean, that's not a fair place to put fans into, though, right? Like, just don't have any hope at all until people. That's a tough place for fans to live with. Like, I think that's a tough place. I think that's a tough place to be. There's some expectations that's needed of how the team is moving forward. Like,
that says it in and of itself, though, right? Like, what I'm saying, I'm not like blaming anybody other than the organization here. I'm not blaming fans for having like unrealistic expectations for these guys to come back. Like, I'm not blaming anybody but the organization for their past failures in these situations where all of these injuries seem to linger well beyond when these guys are supposed to come. Kendrick Nunn is currently killing it for Panathinaikos out there in Greece. He's killing it, Raj. He's killing it.
Yeah, I did not know that, but
I know that because of Basketball Passport, which I hope you guys are listening to every Sunday and Thursday evening. But like, Lee is telling me like almost every show, because he knows it's going to get a rise out of me. about like how well Kendrick Nunn is playing. It's like he got away from the Lakers and his body started working again. Surely a coincidence, Raj. You know,
Yeah,
it's just a team that is known for skimping on a lot of things may just be skimping on this too.
maybe. I think also, like, I think it's fair to, like, they got the most important health they got was last year of LeBron and AD staying healthy, and that's like the
But
most
those
important.
guys handle that themselves.
Okay,
The
I mean,
Lakers play no role in that.
they play some. I mean, I'm sure they have some role in that.
The
They're
Lakers were
massage.
as surprised as you and me that LeBron wasn't going to play tonight. There was no
I think
LeBron.
they
There was a
found out
game.
through Jared
There
Greenberg
was
that LeBron was not
oh
playing.
shit. No, there was a game. No, there was Raj. We saw this in we saw this at play where D'Angelo Russell is standing out there on the court. He's like, "Hey, dude,
Oh yeah.
coach, we only have 4 guys on the court. Is LeBron is LeBron playing? I don't know. LeBron, you playing? No. Oh shit.
Yeah.
The Lakers have as much impact on LeBron James staying healthy as I have an impact on you staying healthy. Like there is just no, no
No correlation.
there's no correlation whatsoever.
Okay. All right. Well, you look, Jared Vanderbilt get healthy, man. That's like
That's all that
it's
does
rough.
matter. But
It's rough going through this every single season. There's always one player, Anthony. It's like it's one guy that's like the final key
just you wait.
that unlocks the roster. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Final one here. Rye Guy says, please God, AR-15, which I don't love that nickname, but Reeves, Levine, Dalton, Braun, and AD equals the chip. 0 defense. Like poor Anthony Davis. Look at that rotation. That line was like, what?
Yeah.
This sucks. I don't want to play here. Like they may as well just like let the other team score and just like remember Vivek Ranadive's
Oh yeah.
like
Keep one guy
4-on-5
on the other
thing.
time.
Yeah, like
He
just
invented
let
cherry
Dalton
picking.
stand in the corner. Don't come back on defense. We'll throw you the ball. You'll score 80 points a game. All right. On that note, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast and this week's episode here of the Lakers Lounge podcast. We had a couple bonus episodes that ran this week. I hope you check out the Mir and Fader conversation about Hakeem Olajuwon and his impact on not just basketball, but on the world around him. Just an incredible, incredible human being there. I'm speaking about Mir and Fader and Hakeem Olajuwon, 2 great people that Miran is a close personal friend. It was great talking to her on such a momentous occasion. And then Trevor Lane and I talked in preparation for this game, a game that we thought at the time was still going to be a dress rehearsal. It wound up not being that. But I do think a lot of the points that he and I made over the course of that episode are still prescient. So check that out as well. And then the next time that you guys hear from me is going to be Sunday as I answer mailbag questions 48 hours or so before the season kicks off. So until then, and until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Chapalu. This has been the Lakers Lounge. Have a great rest of your weekend. Make somebody else's. Please stay safe out there as we get into the holiday, like, Halloween party season and all of that stuff. Hop in an Uber. I know it's expensive. Do it anyway. And hit the subscribe and like and all of that button. And I will talk to you guys again on Sunday. Now, here's Avery.
Bye, everyone.